Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're blasting off into a topic that sounds like science fiction but is rapidly becoming economic reality: space mining. We're talking about an industry that some experts predict could be worth trillions of dollars and fundamentally reshape global markets as we know them. If you've ever wondered how getting rich off asteroids could affect your wallet, you're in the right place. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand the immense economic power of the cosmos. So, what exactly is space mining? In a nutshell, it's the hypothetical, but increasingly plausible, exploitation of raw materials from asteroids, the moon, and other celestial bodies. Think about it, our planet has finite resources. But out there, in the vastness of space, are asteroids packed with trillions of dollars worth of platinum, palladium, rhodium, iron, nickel, and even water ice. The moon holds helium-3, rare earth elements, and more. But why now? Why is this becoming such a hot topic? Well, several factors are converging. Firstly, technological advancements in rocketry, robotics, and automation are making deep space missions more feasible and less costly. Secondly, the increasing demand for critical materials here on Earth, especially for electronics and green energy technologies, is driving prices up and supplies down. And thirdly, a growing number of private companies and nations are investing heavily, seeing the writing on the wall: the next great resource rush won't be on Earth, but off it. Let's talk about the prize. What exactly are they mining for? The main targets fall into a few categories. Precious metals, platinum group metals, platinum, palladium, rhodium, are incredibly rare on Earth and vital for catalytic converters, electronics, and medical devices. An asteroid the size of a football field could contain more platinum than has ever been mined in human history. Base metals, iron and nickel, are abundant in certain asteroids. These could be used for in-space manufacturing, reducing the need to launch heavy materials from Earth. Volatiles, water ice, found on the moon and in some asteroids, is crucial. It can be used for life support, but more importantly, it can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen, rocket fuel. This would be a game changer for deep space exploration. Rare earth elements, essential for modern electronics and renewable energy technologies. Imagine the impact of suddenly having access to virtually unlimited quantities of these materials. It's not just about more stuff, it's about a fundamental shift in economic power, supply chains, and even international relations. The most immediate and significant impact will undoubtedly be on commodity prices. Currently, the scarcity of precious metals like platinum drives their high value. What happens when an asteroid delivers enough platinum to flood the global market? Deflationary pressure. We could see a significant drop in the prices of these highly sought-after metals. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Lower material costs could lead to cheaper electronics, more affordable green technologies, and general economic stimulus. Disruption to Earth-based mining. Terrestrial mining operations, especially those focused on extracting increasingly difficult to reach or lower grade ores, could face severe competition or even become obsolete for certain materials. This would have massive implications for employment and regional economies dependent on mining. Next up, let's talk about supply chains. Our current global supply chains are complex, fragile, and often politically charged. Space mining could introduce a new, robust source of materials, potentially reducing reliance on specific countries or politically unstable regions. Diversification of supply. No longer would a single nation's export policies dictate the availability or price of a critical mineral. This could stabilize markets and reduce geopolitical tensions over resource control. New logistics and infrastructure. We'd see the birth of entirely new industries focused on space transportation, asteroid rendezvous, orbital processing, and re-entry logistics. Think of the jobs and investment opportunities. And what about energy and space fuel? This is where the water ice comes in. Being able to refuel rockets in space from resources mined on the Moon or asteroids dramatically changes the economics of space travel. Cheaper space missions. Missions would no longer need to carry all their fuel from Earth, which is incredibly expensive. This could usher in an era of more frequent, more ambitious, and more affordable space exploration and commercial ventures. Moon bases and Mars colonization. If we can produce fuel and construction materials in space, the dream of permanent moon bases or even Mars colonization becomes far more achievable and economically viable. The rise of space mining will inevitably create entirely new industries and job markets. Space robotics and AI, developing autonomous mining robots, sophisticated AI for navigation and resource identification, and remote operating systems. In space manufacturing, using mined metals to build satellites, space stations, and even new spacecraft directly in orbit. This reduces launch costs and increases design flexibility. Space law and governance, establishing international frameworks, property rights in space, and regulatory bodies to manage this new frontier. It's a legal minefield, pun intended. Asteroid prospecting and surveying, the need for specialized companies to identify, map, and characterize resource-rich asteroids. This isn't just a private enterprise. Nations are keenly aware of the strategic implications. Geopolitical power dynamics will undoubtedly shift. New space race. We're already seeing a new space race, not just to plant flags, but to secure resources. Nations that develop strong space mining capabilities could gain significant economic and strategic advantages. International cooperation versus competition. Will space mining lead to unprecedented international cooperation, sharing resources for the benefit of all? Or will it become a new battleground for resource control, potentially escalating tensions? This is a critical question for the coming decades. Now, it's not all sunshine and asteroid gold. There are significant challenges and risks that need to be addressed. Technological hurdles. While advancements are rapid, the engineering challenges of operating sophisticated mining equipment in a vacuum, with extreme temperatures and radiation, are immense. Investment and capital. The upfront costs for developing these capabilities are astronomical. While the potential returns are huge, the initial investment is a barrier. Return on investment timeframe. It could take decades for these ventures to become profitable, requiring patience and sustained funding. Environmental concerns. Even in space, there are environmental considerations. How do we manage space debris? What are the long-term impacts of altering celestial bodies? While different from Earth, these are valid questions. And then there are the ethical and legal frameworks. Who owns the Moon? Who owns an asteroid? The 1967 Outer Space Treaty provides a framework, but it's vague on resource ownership. Resource distribution. If one company or nation gains control of vast quantities of a critical resource, how does that impact global equity and access? Weaponization of space. The technologies developed for mining could potentially have dual-use applications. Space debris. Mining operations will generate debris. How do we manage this to ensure the long-term safety of orbital activities? These are not trivial concerns, and they underscore the need for international dialogue and thoughtful policy development now, before the mining operations become widespread. Despite the challenges, numerous companies and even countries are forging ahead. Companies like Astroforge are already planning missions to characterize and sample metal-rich asteroids. Luxembourg has even established a legal framework to allow companies to own resources extracted from space. This isn't just talk, it's happening. So, what does the future look like? In a few decades, we could see orbital factories, manufacturing facilities in space, building everything from satellites to solar power stations using materials mined from asteroids. Lunar outposts, self-sustaining bases on the Moon, fueled by lunar ice and extracting rare earths. Abundance of resources. A world where scarcity of critical materials is a thing of the past, driving innovation and lowering costs across industries. New global economic powers. Nations and corporations that master space mining could become the economic titans of the 22nd century.